everyone, Miss Kelly from the Wakanda Area Library here to show you what we're doing with this month's Art to Go kit. This month you guys will be making a cardboard creature. So in your kit you're going to find some strips of pre-cut and measured cardboard, a push pin, and some of these little tiny brads, and even a toothpick. Okay. What you'll need to do this is some scissors, some glue, something to color with. I'm using markers today, but you could use crayons. You could even use paint if you wanted. A ruler and a pencil are helpful, but not absolutely necessary. And you're also going to need a folded up towel like this. Okay, so to get started, I want you to look at those 6 strips, and you're going to see 6 of them have a color on the back, and 1 of them is plain on both sides. We're going to set that one to the side for now. We're just going to use these colored ones. So you're going to turn them over. And this is where you're going to decide what your design is going to look like. You could make it, you can color it like a snake if you want. You can make it cute. You can make it, have just polka dots on it. You can make any kind of creature that you want. This is just going to be like their body. So you can design it any way you want. I have one. I'm going to move these over here. I've got one that I've already colored over here. Got this one. I colored it pink and put these like kind of scales on it like that. All right, so once you get all 6 of these strips colored on one side, you can color all 6 of them different if you want. Then we're going to fold them and glue them. So you're going to take and you turn them over this way and match the ends evenly like this. And press them down. Okay, make sure you rub it really good on here, and then you can just use a glue stick. It'll work just fine, or if you have liquid glue, that's fine too. Okay, and you're going to cover this really well. Now we're going to pin this together in another way too, but this will help it stay flatter. And by doubling it like this, it's going to be stronger. It'll be a little bit thicker. The cardboard makes it thicker that way. Okay, so there's your first one. So you want to do that with all 6 pieces of your decorated cardboard. I've got some over here that I already did earlier. So the glue's already all dry and they're all set. So now this is going to be the part when you're going to need a little bit of a grown-up help. Oh, let me close my glue. You're going to need the grown-up's help. So you're going to take one of your little strips that you've glued in half and decorated already, and you're going to have your grown-up. They can either, if you want, this is where you can use a ruler and a pencil if you want. Measure about halfway. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just about in the middle. And then you can make 3 dots if you want. You do one, try to do one right in the middle, and then you're going to do one on each side about 1 inch in. Okay, so you just want to make sure it's more important that it's in the middle here than exactly in these measurements. So this is where you're going to take your push pin, and this is where you're going to need your grown-up's going to have to do this part for you. So you're going to take it and you're going to push it right in that towel like that. This is why we have this towel to protect your surface. And then kind of wiggle it back out. And you see you get your little hole there. Push and then wiggle it back out. And do your last one with my dot. Push and wiggle it back out. Okay, so you've got your 3 dots like that. Now you're going to use this first one that you finish is going to be your guide. So now you're going to take your next one, put it right underneath. Make sure they're measured or lined up well, and then take this. It gets a little bit harder because remember you're going through 4 strips of cardboard. Actually, just push it down tight. All right. And if you see I'm giving it a little bit of a wiggle, that makes the hole a little bit bigger. But I also did give you this toothpick just in case, because we're going to have to put the brads through here. So if you're having a hard time sliding it through there, you can kind of just go like that and wiggle your hole a little bit bigger. Okay, so but by doing it this way, using the one on top of the other guide method, you're going to make sure that all your holes are lined up. So when you assemble, it's a little bit easier. So let's set this aside. So I've got all 6 of these guys all done like this already. Okay, so now we're going to set these aside. So we're going to take that last strip now, that one that was plain on both sides, and you're going to fold it evenly in half. And I'm just doing this actually to make a line to cut on. And we're going to use our scissors and cut that guy right in half. Now, if you want, some of them might be a little bit shorter or longer. If you want to make sure it's the exact same size, you can trim this down before you do the holes in this, but it's really going to be okay. It doesn't really need to be exact. And then after you cut these 2 guys, you're going to decorate them. You can decorate them the same way you decorated your body, like I did mine in red. Now, I waited until I cut it to decorate. I know that the other part was all right. We decorated it before we folded it, but this one is going to be the face. So we kind of want to do it all as one thing. So you need to cut it so that you can kind of line it up and look at it. So this is going to be like, this will be the top of the head and this will be the bottom. All right, I'm just going to do one side just for time's sake so you guys can get a quick idea of what I'm doing here. Oops. Now this is where you have to think about what kind of creature this is, what you want its mouth to look like. You could do it so it's got some sharp teeth, or you can just give it a smile. It's entirely up to you how you want it to look. Give it an eye. I'm going to put an eye on this side. And remember, you're going to turn it over and put an eye on the other side too. But right now what I'm going to do is take these two sides and put them together like this. And I'm going to give it some teeth. I'm going to cut just some little teeth in like this. Now you can pre-draw these if you want, so it's a little bit easier cutting. Especially if you're cutting through both thicknesses at the same time, it's kind of tricky, so you can cut one and then trace the pattern on the other one. So it's a little easier. Keep going. I think that's as much as I'm going to put on. All right. So when you're done, you're going to end up with something that looks like that. All right, I'm going to move this over here. All right, so I am going to show you how we start assembling these guys. Don't forget, when you're done, you're going to go back and color the other side of that too. Okay, so we're going to start assembling these guys. You're going to take all 6 of your strips that's got there are 3 holes punched each, and you're going to take your little brads. So you're going to start with any 2 of them, and you're going to line up those middle holes. So this is where you might need that toothpick. If you're having a hard time getting your brad to go in that little hole, you might need the toothpick. The brad is made of 2 legs on either side, so if you make sure that they're pushed tightly together, it's easier to slide it through the next one. This one looks like it's going to be a little tight, so I'm going to take my toothpick and just wiggle it in there, make the hole a little bit bigger, and then line those guys up. So I started on the middle one, so once you've got them all the way through, you're going to turn it over, and there's 2 sides. You're going to fold it down and push it down tight. Okay, so you get your first X like that, all right? And then let's take our next one. Again, if you want to, before ahead of time, do your little push on there. Push on the 2 holes. Okay, and take your next brad. To assemble the whole thing, it only takes 9 brads. I threw an extra one in there just in case you lose one, so don't get confused by having an extra one. Okay, you really kind of need them to make this, so I thought you better need an extra one. So again, just push them down. All right, and then we're going to start here. You're going to come this way. You see, we're just crossing them back and forth. Your brad, line up your little hole. Oops, go this way. Actually, that toothpick does come in really handy on some of these, especially if you have it turned around. If you pushed it from the other side, the cardboard will be kind of pushed up at you, so it's easier. So you're just going to keep going back and forth. There is a little bit of a diagram that'll show you how to do this that I'm going to put in your bag. It'll be helpful. Okay, so then you're going to do your middle ones, okay? So I've got one over here that I have already finished putting together. You can see, keep going back and forth, and then you get something like this. And then when you get to the end is where we're going to add your face on. Here's the face that I've made. So it's a little bit different on adding the face. You're just going to put the top one through this hole and the bottom through here. So remember, when you finish this, you're going to need to line it up the same thing we did here and just punch 1 hole in the end of this one. So you'll line it up all the way at the end. So it's going to go right in here. Okay, so let's take your brad and put it through his face here, and then the corresponding hole. I did try and make sure, I do need to push that through a little bit more. I did try and make sure that all the brads are facing the same way. Just, it looks a little bit nicer, it's a little bit more uniform looking. Okay. Let's put that one through there. And when I'm done with this guy, I'll turn around and you'll be able to see both sides of his face that I did give him a, okay, let's push this down. But for some of you guys, this will be even easier than it is for Miss Kelly because your hands are a little bit smaller, so it makes it easier working with these really small brads in the small holes. So I'm going to push those in. Okay, and then add his bottom jaw, but you can do the opposite if you want. I'm going to do it from the underside like this. Either way you put it together, it's going to work. It just is about the way it looks right now, the way you want it to look. There we go. Let me turn it over so you can see. I put an eye on this side, and I even give him a nostril on both sides there. And let's give him a little wiggle so you can see how he works. There you go. There's your creature. I hope you guys have fun doing this and send me pictures of your finished projects and keep an eye out for next month's Art to Go. Bye.